So in this video, I want to talk about something that happens a decent amount in some of my playthroughs, especially when I'm trying out new things or testing out different builds. Sometimes you'll be in nightmarish positions, and the position is solved if you just simply let a bad unit die. And a lot of times you might as well, because you can always replace them with someone else, especially in Fire Emblem Engage, and you're better off not over-calculating things to keep a bad unit alive. Now, unless you're doing some kind of challenge playthrough or some kind of specific rule set, you're usually better off just letting the thing burn off your team. So in this case, I had a very tense position. This turn was a very tense position. Now, I could have kind of dropped back to some degree, but half of my team is committed forward. Maybe we could have survived, everyone could have lived. But I held a more aggressive position to kill enemies because I actually want to beat the map instead of just like running away and turtling. So I held an aggressive position, and one of the 4 flyers found a kill on Louis. He was able to squeeze through the cracks, fly around my team and then pick him. Now, he has bad res, and as a tank, some of these like tank units are kind of like memes. So like he honestly hasn't been doing much this entire run. And the best he can really do is kind of tank physical. Like, he actually tanks worse than this base Gold Mary, which is pathetic. Like, she just doesn't get doubled by more things. So, like, when she's on Folkvanger, most things don't double her. So just because of that and her, like, similar defense value, she out-tanks him at base. And also, she has higher res, and she doesn't get doubled by most mages. So she wouldn't have gotten one-rounded, whereas he would. So you are usually better off just, like, replacing your bad units with other units, or your underfed units. Some might argue Louis underfed, but the best Louis is always going to get doubled and one-rounded by mages. So you have to play around that. Now, I'm not in the business of accommodating for unit weakness, so if a unit has some kind of significant weakness, I'm just going to let them die, to be honest. I don't care. Like, I don't want to deal with a bad unit who's a pain in the ass. I don't. I would rather have units that can, at minimum, tank a single hit. Now, if a unit is constantly getting one-shot by things or killed by things and it's like a pain to use, I actually recommend against it and I rate it low on a tier list, because then it's just like, not worth it. It's just this annoying thing you have to deal with now. It's like a chore. Like, no one wants to deal with a chore, right? Like, no one wants to be playing the game and it's like, oh man, this Louis has to be protected now, because if we don't protect him, he's gonna die. Like, I'd rather him just be good, not be a problem for me. I want him to solve my problems, not cause my problems. So that's the way I view units. If they actually help me, I like them. If they don't, then I don't like them. And in the case of Louis, in this particular team, he was dying a lot. Like, he was dying a lot to mages. Now, you could argue I could position him better. Sure, that's always true of any unit that's vulnerable to getting killed by things. But if he's just sitting in a frontline position and I'm constantly worried about like the mages that are going to one-round him, that's like needless extra calculation. Like, if I was running like a Marin tank, like a Marin Ike tank, or even without Ike, even just like a Marin on the front lines, like she could get a kill and then tank a mage easily. A Tamara could do that. A Kagetsu could do that. So there's different builds that can easily tank these like threats that I wouldn't have to worry about, but I do have to worry about now because of the specific units I'm using. So I don't like when my units cause me problems. So I think it's fine to let units die, especially if the unit isn't popping off. Let's see, you're on random growth, they're not popping off. You might as well just let them die and just replace them with someone better. But that's just how I view it. But yeah, that's it for this one. I just wanted to talk about letting units die. It's something I noticed I started doing more as I've been doing like challenge runs or testing weird team comps. I'll just get into a position where the position will be solved as long as a unit dies. And if the unit doesn't matter and they're not that high impact, I will let them die. So another unit I'd be willing to sack here is Diamant. He's basically worse than Saphir at this point. And if I were to get Saphir, she would just be stronger than him and basically do the exact same thing he's doing. So he's another unit I'm willing to let die. Gold Mary I want to keep alive for off-tanking. The rest I would probably all save, but the Louis, he was definitely underperforming. He wasn't leveling up enough. So he's got to go. But yeah, that's it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe if you enjoy these discussion type videos. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.